Alright guys, we're going to start working through investigation 2 called choosing a sample from a population. Again, this is you working in class with your partner and still being active in class. The point of these videos / audio is just to kind of help you along and guide you through the investigation. So that we can move a little bit at our own pace. But what I really do want is for you to continue to work with your partner and to continue to ask questions if you have them. So at any point during this video, if you need to stop and ask myself or Mr. K or whoever's in the room a question, please do so. This is not to replace the teaching and the class atmosphere that we have. This is just to help the process along and help you read through the investigation. Alright, so suppose you want to gather information about students in your class, such as their preference for food, television, music, or sports. It would be fairly easy to conduct a survey, but collecting information about all the students in your school or all the people in your city, your state, or the entire country would be very difficult. So we've talked about choosing a sample. All right. You can study a large population by collecting data from a small part or a sample of that population. Depending on how the sample is selected from the population, it is possible to use the data from the sample to help you make predictions or draw conclusions about the entire population. The challenge is to choose a sample that is likely to help you accurately predict information about a population. I'm going to pause here. Let's get down some definitions. First of sample, and you can pause the video if you need some more time. Then of population, predictions, and conclusions. So make sure those 4 are in your notes and something that you know of for the future. Alright, so some questions to consider with your partner. We have some information here to consider. Of children 9 to 13 years old, 59% say that they get information about new clothing styles from their friends. 58% say they get such information from television, 38% from school, and 31% from stores. That's our first bullet. Second bullet, the average child eats 1,500, Second bullet. The average child eats 1,500 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches before graduating from high school. Bullet 3. Between grades 7 and 12, teenagers listen to about 10,500 hours of rock music. This is only 500 fewer hours than they spend in school over 12 years. And finally, the average American child watches 30,000 commercials each year. So, some questions to consider with your partner. How could the groups who reported these data know about the activities of the children or the teenagers in the United States? So, how did they gather this information? What are some possibilities there? Second question to consider. Do you think each of these facts was gathered from a census, which is a survey of every person in the population, or from a sample? So, there's another word we could get down for a definition: census. Why don't you take a minute and talk to your partner about these 2 questions and the data that is given. Alright, getting into the investigation 2.1, asking about honesty. You're going to need your notebook here and working with your partner together on answering these questions. But first, let's take a look at the survey we are going to answer questions about. So a magazine has asked readers to go to their website and fill out their answers about this honesty survey that they have provided within their magazine. So let's take a look at the survey. And we have 5 questions here. Number 1 is, what would you do if you found someone's wallet on the street? A, try to return it to the owner. B, return it but keep the money. Or C, keep the wallet and the money. 2 was, what would you do if a cashier mistakenly gave you $10 extra in change? A, tell the cashier about the error, or B, say nothing. 3 was, would you cheat on an exam if you were sure you wouldn't get caught? A is yes, B is no. 4, would you download music from the internet illegally instead of buying the CD? A was yes, B was no. And 5, do you feel like you are an honest person in most situations? A is yes, B is no. So with your partner, you are going to answer the following questions. Make sure after each question you pause, talk about the question with your partner, and then write full answers in your notebook. So question A says, a sampling plan is a strategy for choosing a sample from a population. What is the population for the honesty survey above? What is the sample, and how is the sample chosen from the population? So think about who are they wanting to ask all these questions about? What is the general population? Who are they hoping to find? And then what is the actual sample taken? Who is actually answering these questions? And how did they get those answers? How did they reach the people that they asked the questions to? Where B says, suppose 5,280 people complete the survey and 4,224 of them answer no to question 3. The question is, what percent of responders say that they would not cheat on an exam? So how are you going to find the percent of people that said no to question 3 if 5,280 people answered and 4,224 of them answered no? C, of the 5,280 responders, 1,584 said yes to question 4. You're asked what percent of the responders said they would not download music illegally from the internet. So if 1,584 said yes, you're asked what percent said no. So you can pause and find that answer. D says, refer to the survey results given in questions B and C. The United States population has about 300 million people. Okay, so we're asked to estimate how many people in the United States would say they would not cheat on an exam. So you guys above here found the number that said they would not cheat on an exam to be 4,224, and that was out of 5,280. Okay, now we're looking to see how many would not cheat on an exam if the total is 300 million. Okay, so you're going to have to find that answer out by using this ratio here. Then you're also asked to estimate how many people in the United States would say they would not download music illegally. So use your answer from C to answer that and do the same ratio. So what was your number here out of the 5,280, and compare that to an answer here out of 300 million. And million is going to be written like that, right? So if you need questions on that one, feel free to ask, work with your partner, and answer that question. E, list some reasons why predictions about all Americans based on this survey might be inaccurate. So why might this not be a true representation of America? Who are they leaving out by just asking the magazine readers? And who should they be gathering information from instead? F says, how could you revise the sampling plan for this survey so that you would be more confident in the results, that the results predict the percent of United States population that is honest? So how could we reach everybody else? What would be a better method for taking this survey or asking this survey? When you're done with the investigation, you need to check in with me, and we'll go over your answers and see if you are ready to move on to investigation 2.2.